Good day, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for stopping in with us this afternoon or this evening or the morning, whenever you are fortunate enough to see this presentation. This is the Charms Medi Helps Foundation Black History Month. This is our first annual Black History Month, and we've been blessed the past 17 days, and we'll continue to be blessed on this 18th day of February as we've been able to bring forth people who care, senior subject matter experts who, when I ask, would you please help me bring forth the message of love, the message of we care, the message of together we rise? Would you please be kind enough to share with me on the stage your thoughts on how we get there? Share with me for our community, and not just for our community, because as I stated from day one, when we talk to all patients. However, with this being Black History Month, or I should say Black Health in History Month, we are, our focus has been the African American community. Why? Because we're under resourced. Why? Because we are considered marginalized. Why? Because we're considered a part of the vulnerable community. Why? Because each of us that have presented thus far and will continue to present up to the 29th of February, each of us belong to the African American community. So it's important to us to make sure that we continue to share forth. I am going to go ahead and introduce tonight's guest speaker. And before I do that, I do want to let you know that if you have comments and you're looking at this from Facebook, please place those comments in the Facebook chat so that I can see them. If you have comments and you're on LinkedIn, please put those in the LinkedIn box so that I can see them and we can address them before this night is over. If you're looking at this on another day that's not the 18th and you're like, but I have a comment or I have a question and I just really want to know more about what Dr. Hester has spoke about, please send it through the LinkedIn chat. I will get the comments. I will see them. I will pass them on to Dr. Hester. She will respond to them in kind so that you're not left out here wondering what happened. Well, what happened to my question and how come my question wasn't answered? We're going to do our best to answer those questions that do come up. So without further ado, I am going to go ahead and introduce our honored guest this evening. She is Dr. Ann Maria Hester. She is a board certified internist with nearly 30 years of clinical experience. And in health, she's also, right? She's done the clinical part from the internist side. She also teaches health and wellness because she realizes that in order for any patient to get to a sustainable health outcome, a health outlook, what needs to happen is that holistically, that patient needs to receive treatment. And so, as part of her internist, she's actually also added health and wellness, being a health and wellness coach to that. She's an unstoppable force of empowerment. So you know what that means. That means that, let me tell you what it means in case you don't in case you don't know. What that means is that she's an internist. She's a medical doctor. She's empowered. So her patients are going to be just as empowered as she's going to be because that drives her to reach that empowerment level that makes her unstoppable is the fact that here she has patients that are compliant and she's teaching them how to be compliant. She's teaching them how to be engaged. That means she's a patient. She's a doctor that cares, right? We need more of them. She's the author of Patient Empowerment 101, More Than a Book. It's an adventure. And she's also the creator of Patient World, a platform for on-demand health and wellness courses. And take this. She also was kind enough to bless the Charms Medi Helps Foundation with free courses that you have access to. All you have to do is ask you, Sandra, how can I get those courses? What are those courses? How can I get them? If you want to pay for courses, she also has paid courses. But if you just want to, see what's out there, check them out, see what it's all about, she also has courses that she blessed us with in order for us to bless those who need to be able to get, readily access to health instruction and health information. So, without further ado, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to actually go ahead and introduce Dr. Anne Marie Hester.
Hello, and thank you so much. I am so honored to have been asked to be here. There are a few things that you left out. I am a grandmother, a great grandmother, a mommy, a wife, and the mom of a 99-pound German Shepherd I still call Papa. So, again, thank everybody for coming. It's really a blessing and an honor to be here. So, I want to get started by giving you 3 words: prevent, treat, reverse. Repeat after me. I want these words to be in the depths of your brain. Prevent, treat, and reverse. Now you're wondering why those words are important. I am so glad you asked, because every year millions of people around the world die from a disease or suffer unnecessarily from a disease that is preventable, treatable, or reversible. Now let that sink in. Millions of people. That does not even begin to tell the story. Because along with the millions of people who actually pass away, there are many, many more millions of people whose lives have been destroyed. Wives, husbands, women who would never have their father to walk them down the aisle when they get married, grandchildren who would not have the privilege of having grandma or grandpa at school on Grandparents' Day, brothers, sisters, nieces, nephews, co-workers, and so forth. It just keeps going and going and going. Now, we all are sad at the loss of a loved one, but it goes even further than that. The loss of a loved one can cause a person to be so depressed that that person ends up coping with that through drugs or alcohol. Another can of worms. So we're talking potential job loss, DUI, health issues, and so forth. But taking that a step further, depression alone is a risk factor for fatal heart attack. So you have this group of people and this group of people. They have the same risk factors, the same cholesterol level, the same blood pressure, the same family history. All of those things are the same. You add depression to these people, they're far more likely to die. And so this goes well beyond one individual. It's not just, well, I've got to die of something. It doesn't matter. What you do, the choices that you make, can not only decrease your life expectancy significantly, but can even decrease the life expectancy of the people you love the most. I have 6 more words for you. The easiest way to remember these words are AD, add, 4 S's, S, 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 AD, S, 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 S. So people who acknowledge and incorporate these 4 concepts into their lives can add so much to their lives. People who ignore these teachings, they can be very sad. It's a choice. We're going to go through each one. So we're going to begin with A. A is activity. So you don't have to belong to a gym to be physically active. Physical activity is tremendous as far as your life expectancy. So national recommendations are that a healthy person, a person who is able to safely do this, will Engage in 150 minutes or more of moderate activity per week, or 75 minutes or more of vigorous activity per week, or some combination. So let me tell you what moderate means. It doesn't mean that you're just kind of walking along, looking at your phone, talking to people. Moderate, you can carry on a little bit of a conversation with a person who's walking next to you. If you have a treadmill, it's about 3 miles an hour. With vigorous activity, running, playing tennis, don't even think about a conversation. And so if you engage in that sort of activity, you can literally add years, not days, weeks, months, years to your life. These things will decrease your risk of certain cancers, high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, and other conditions. And so simply being active means a lot. If you sit down for more than 30 minutes at a time, there's something going on in your body, and the cholesterol enzymes, they kind of kick in, and that could increase your cholesterol sitting down 30 minutes at a time. Now just imagine what that is doing when you're sitting doing marathon movie night. You're sitting, you're not getting up, or even if you work at a desk and you just sit there from 8 until noon, and then you get up to go to the bathroom or for your lunch break. All of that time that you're seated at the desk is doing harm to your body. So get up every 30 minutes, get up, go to the bathroom, go get some water, do something. Don't put everything you need right next to you. You don't have to get out of the seat. Put your water bottle a little bit further away. So you actually physically have to get up. Put everything you need at a little bit of a distance so you don't have to sit there hour after hour comfortably and not even think about getting up. Now, COVID kind of flipped the switch. So a lot of people are working at home now. And I even work at home now. I made a pivot, so I work at home now as well. But even so, there are things you can do. You can get a treadmill, put it in a room. You can get the treadmill that folds up. I also got a treadmill that I can put under my work desk. And I elevated my desk on some blocks. And I got these sort of desks that you can lift up. And so while I'm doing my work, I can get on the treadmill. I'm not going to go very fast because I don't want to fall and hurt myself. But I can get on the treadmill and walk and walk and walk as I'm doing my work. I can do that in the morning, in the afternoon, plus all the other activity. Just get creative. If that doesn't work for you, you can get an under the desk elliptical. You can get an under the desk bicycle. There's so many things you can do to stay active. So again, A is for activity. D is for diet. By diet, I mean a whole foods, plant-based diet. No, you don't have to be a vegan and you don't have to be a vegetarian. But if you have a plant-based whole food diet, that can help you live longer. Let me give you an example. We know that if you have women with breast cancer, all other things being the same, and they have a strong diet, plant-based whole food diet, the one who follows this diet is less likely to die than the group that does not. So we have chemotherapy, we have surgery, we have all of these things, but the diet can actually help you live longer with cancer. The same thing with prostate cancer. Yes, you have treatments, but just making smart dietary choices can also help you live longer. The plant-based foods, they have everything that you need. People think of the animal products as the protein. Really, a lot of the calories you get are really from fat, often saturated fat. Yes, there's protein, but you can get protein in pinto beans. You can get protein basically in anything. Walnuts, spinach, even apples have a small amount of protein. So all plants have some combination of the major nutrients, the protein, the carbohydrates, and the fats to varying degrees. And so when you hear the term eat the rainbow, It's because different plants have different nutrients. You're not going to find the same nutrients in yellow corn as you're going to find in deep green kale, as you're going to find in an orange, as you're going to find in uh, purple cabbage. And so, if you eat a variety of things, then you can get a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this. And so, when you put it all together, your body is getting the full package. It's important to also realize that the American diet is heavy into processed foods. And I want you to think about the fact that food scientists, a lot of them get paid big bucks to develop just the right combination of foods with this certain balance of salt, sugar, and fat that makes the food not only pleasurable to taste, but once you ingest it, it goes to the brain. There are signals sent to the brain that gives you this sense of euphoria. Comfort food, it feels good. And so you want more and you want more, but we're talking about more and more salt, more and more fat, more and more sugar, higher and higher blood pressure, more and more blockage of the arteries, increased risk of diabetes. But your brain says, this feels good, I want more. And specifically, those foods release chemicals that hit the same pleasure centers of the brain as sex, drugs, listening to music you like, and other pleasurable things. So there is a real basis for this. In addition, you have a thermostat on the wall, and you can, let's say you set it for 70. And if it gets too cold, your heater kicks in to pick you back up to 70. If it gets too hot, the heater turns off because the thermostat knows 70 is the goal. Your brain has a thermostat, it has a set point. And when you ingest a lot of ultra processed foods, those foods can be toxic to the thermostat or the set point in the hypothalamus of the brain. So, what that means is you decide, okay, I want to lose weight. Your body's used to where you are. And with the toxic activity of all these ultra processed foods and what they're doing to that set point, you try to exercise, and your body says, hey, she's sick. Something's wrong. She's losing weight. Let me lower the metabolism so she gains the weight back. You stop eating as much and you change your diet again. Hey, something's wrong. The set point is 150, 160 pounds. She's 130. I better change that metabolism to get her back up. So people, they exercise, they eat less, they eat wiser things, and they find that they cannot lose the weight. A lot of people have seen the show, have heard of the show, The Greatest Losers. Yeah, they lost a lot of weight, but most of them gained most of it back. It's not a simple thing to do. And so it's not only about the adults. We've got to teach the children. We've got to teach our children how to read labels, how to think through things. So when they're choosing things, they will choose the right things. A whole food, an apple, processed apple, applesauce, ultra processed apple, the fried apple pie you get at a fast food restaurant. So you go from the whole food to the processed to the ultra processed, and the nutritional value just tanks. The apple is still there, but by the time you add all of these other things that are destroying your health, what's the point of having an apple? So we have A, we have D. S, stress, will take you out of here. A high stress life does so much to impact your life expectancy. Everything from making you release hormones like adrenaline, the fight or flight response, your blood pressure shoots up. That's acutely, but long-term stress will make you release cortisol. With cortisol, another hormone, you deposit fat around your midsection. It impacts your blood pressure. It does all sorts of things. All of those things can decrease your life expectancy. Sleep is another one. Sleep is so important. Don't fall for the thought that if I can make it on 3 or 4 hours of sleep, I'm strong. I'm Superman. I'm Superwoman. Because what you're doing is you are destroying your health. If you don't sleep well, you don't get restorative sleep. And for an adult, that's typically 7 to 9 hours a night. But if you are not getting adequate sleep, your life expectancy goes down. They have found, for an example, that people who do shift work may have a higher risk of breast cancer. And that is just one of many examples. Your body needs that downtime to kind of reset, to equilibrate. And when you deprive your body of appropriate sleep, literally, you're just taking time off of your life. That's not to say, once or twice every now and then you don't get enough sleep. I'm saying chronically, you need to prioritize sleep. The next one is social connections. And so a lot of people have heard if you're married, you're likely going to live longer. But if you're not married and you have a dog, you'll still live longer than your neighbor who doesn't have a spouse or a dog. Social connections, feeling good, laughing, talking, having that sense of being, sense of purpose, literally can prolong your life. And then we have substances. Avoid toxic substances, such as smoking. If I told you that every day a 747 would fall from the sky and kill everybody on board, would you book a flight on a 747? Of course not. Every day, more people die from smoking-related illnesses than if a 747 crashed every day. That's only one of multiple things. Alcohol. A lot of people don't realize a woman who drinks more than a drink a day increases the risk of breast cancer. Also, alcohol can impact your blood pressure, impact your heart, it can make your brain shrink, it can cause a variety of things of cancer, in addition to putting you at risk of DUI and other things. Those things we know about. But there are other toxins all around that you may not be aware of. For instance, I read an article that women who work at home are more likely to die of cancer than women who went to the workplace. And I hypothesized that that was because women in the home, they're exposed to all of these household chemicals. They're exposing their skin, they're inhaling these things. So they're exposed to all these chemicals, and those things put them at risk of cancer. I encourage you to go to a website called ewg.org. ewg.org. Pull out your detergents, your laundry detergent, your lotions, your shampoos, all of those things. And a lot of those you'll be able to look up in this website, in the search bar. And so let's say you put brand X in, and it will say it has a very low rating because it has chemical A. This has been associated with breast cancer. Chemical B. This has been associated with this problem, chemical C. When you go through these step by step by step, you're going to be alarmed at everything that you're exposing your body to every day, day in, day out. Your body's just taking in all of these harmful chemicals. Sometimes the manufacturers are clueless. Sometimes I think they're really not. But realistically, for certain people, it's about the money. It's not about you. It's not about your health. Yes, they want the great customer service and to encourage you to buy their products over and over. They're getting rich and your health is plummeting. I spent one afternoon on ewg.org with my household products, my shampoos, all of those things. And I ended up throwing almost all of them out. And I just went on Amazon and I just started ordering things, looking at the green products, the safer things. Another thing is plastic. You can go and you can purchase Ziploc type bags that are made out of cornstarch, biodegradable things. You don't want to keep exposing yourself and your family to plastics. And so I could go on and on and on. But the most important thing, what I want you to remember and take with you, prevent, treat, and reverse. Because it's not just about you, it's about everybody you love and how they would handle it if something happens to you. And it doesn't mean that you have to pass away. You could become disabled from a catastrophic stroke. You could lose your eyesight from diabetes. You could end up on a dialysis machine with diabetes. So many things can happen that will just turn your world upside down. If you were out at a picnic and you looked up and you saw this rock coming, it's far away. I'm not going to worry too much about it. So you would go back to eating the barbecue, laughing, talking. You look up a few hours later. It's bigger, it's a little bit closer, but it's too far away for me to really worry about. I'm going to go back and enjoy my family and friends. A couple hours later, you look up, it's bigger still, and it's closer, but it's still far away. But the last time you look up, it's right over your head, and it's too wide for you to run away. That's how you need to think about your health. Don't wait until that rock is right on top of you and it's too late to do anything. You see it far away. We all have the same issues. We're all dealing with the substances, the chemicals we're exposed to, the food choices we make, the determination to or not to be physically active. All of those things we have control over. And we need to make wise decisions for ourselves and for our families. And I thank you so very much for your time. And I pray that you would take any words of wisdom that I imparted to you and share them with someone so they can learn, so they can grow, so they may not die unnecessarily and be one of those statistics.
And I do want to say, Dr. Hester, thank you so much. I'm certainly going to look up that organization that you just told us to look up. I would encourage everyone to look up that organization to see what you're bringing into your home. Not even what you're bringing into your home, but what's already in your home.
Yes.
You brought up and I actually want to say thank you so much for all of you that are listening live, whether you're listening live now, whether it's on Facebook or LinkedIn, whether you're listening later. Once again, if you have a question, please go ahead and send me it through comments on LinkedIn or on Facebook. Send it to me, send me a DM and say, hey, Sandra, I listened to that video and I have some questions so that I can get them to Dr. Hester. That's what this is all about. This is about not only us helping you, but helping you so that you can help yourself, but having the assistance that you need there to continue to help yourself and continue to do those things that need to be done in order to be able to reach not just the better health outcomes, but the best. Why stop at 99 and a half when we can easily get to 100? We could surpass 100 and not just surpass 100 for just one day, but we could surpass 100 so that we're living longer, our kids are living longer, our community is thriving. All of this program this month is designed to get you thinking and acting. What good are what good is it if we get you thinking but you don't act on anything? So please, by all means, if you need to outreach us, go ahead and do so. We do have Dr. Dwayne Wood. He is saying to you, Dr. Hester, the bliss point is something we don't talk about much. Thank you for sharing that information. And I'm taking it that the bliss point, is that what the physicians call it? Is what you just explained to us, is that referred to as the bliss point?
No, it's just what we're talking about as far as when you're ingesting these things and they act on the brain and they give you this blissful feeling. And so it's not really a physician term. If you Google it, you'll probably find it. But it's just the fact that what we put into our bodies can cause pleasure. And unfortunately, a lot of those things are contributing to a lot of the diseases because we want more and more and more and more.
Well, and you know, and I can understand that because we look at it and we like, oh, we feel so good from, you know, partaking in this thing, and we just keep doing it and doing it and doing it, not realizing that what we're doing is not healthy for us, not realizing that, you know, what we're eating, we can say, oh, this is so good. I'm gonna go back for seconds, so I'm gonna go back for thirds, and
All part of the
really.
plan.
Right. And thank you, Dr. Dwayne Wood. He added the perfect combination of fat, salt, and sugar. And you know what? That combination, that perfect combination, it gets us every time. It gets us thinking, oh, we doing so well on such a high when it comes down to the foods that we're ingesting and the things that we're taking, you know, that we're drinking. That you know, yeah, I mean, it's easily to get lost. I do want to ask you a question, and it's this. You know, you brought up a very good point earlier in reference to people who, you know, go on these weight loss diets, and they go on these diets, whether they're binge diets or whether they're, you know, the gastric bypass, thinking that it's all, you know, this is all I have to do, right? I just have to lose this weight. Uh, how often is it, you know, or I don't even want to say how often, is it the diet in, is it necessary for the diet and the genetics of the family and the genetics of that person to go into when they want to take these diets or when they want to be participants in, say, a gastric bypass before they even have this stuff done?
There are many things that go in the person's way. The genetics, that's important. And we talked about the metabolic set point, how that can be rewired. And so we need to start with our kids early. And then the gut is something that we don't talk about that much. Um, the gut is like the second brain. We call like the gut microbiome, all of the tiny little bugs, microorganisms, bacteria within our gut. Those things, the balance is important. And getting back to stress and the diet and so forth, what you eat, the amount of stress, all of those things, the hormones come into action and the balance can be off. And if the balance is off, it's going to be hard for you to lose that weight. And so the gut biome is another part of your weight. And so while it may not be easy to reset the brain, and I'm not going to say it's not possible, but it's not like an overnight fix. What I would suggest is that people focus on a whole food, plant-based diet. And, you know, so most of your plate can be fruits, vegetables, grains, pinto beans. I had those for dinner before I came up here. I mean, full of nutrition, low calorie, high in protein, high in fiber. It's just a matter of making choices. You know, when I was younger, the southerner, and you know how southerners, you know, prepare food, the greens and the pinto beans and so forth. So now we've done things differently, and you know, I make them with olive oil and you know garlic and so forth. So you can take almost anything and tweak it and make it healthier. But going on to surgery, you need to go in a stepwise fashion. You do everything that you can do. You exercise, and if you have a chronic health condition or you're older, certainly check with the doctor first. Don't just get up there and say, I'm going to do 75 minutes of running a week. Don't do that. So, you know, do it in a stepwise manner with the help of your physician, your diet, the exercise. Healthy sleep matters because if you're not sleeping well, you know, you have the cortisol and all the other things, that's going to be hard, make it harder to lose weight. Remember those ADSSSS. All of those things can have an impact with the balance. But that being said, if, excuse me, you've done everything that you can do, and let's say that the doctor has tried a weight loss medication, excuse me, and it did something but not enough, and you're weighing the chance of dying prematurely because you're 100 pounds overweight and you have sleep apnea where you stop breathing basically at night time when the tissues kind of close in the back of your throat. You have uncontrolled high blood pressure. You're in so much pain from arthritis, diabetes, heart disease. If you weigh the risk benefit ratio of having what we call bariatric surgery, obesity surgery, against doing nothing, I would do it in a moment.
Hmm.
I mean, way back when it was more concerning. One of my medical school colleagues, he underwent the surgery a few decades ago. Let's just leave it at that. And he had a few complications, and it was kind of scary back then. But now they've come so far, and people are dying every day from obesity related conditions. If you compare the likelihood of dying from that surgery to the likelihood of dying without the surgery, you're not even comparing apples to apples, not even like grapes to watermelons. You need to sit down with your case, talk to your doctor, discuss the pros and the cons of all of your options because there are options. And there's no one size fits all. I say learn everything that you can learn about your weight and partner with your doctor, and you all make some wise decisions on your behalf.
And I thank you so much for that. And you just brought up a really valid point in the fact that there are always options. I've talked to so many people who, when I tell them that this is some things they can do, try doing this, try doing that, they always ask me, "Well, Sandra, how come no one else told me this?" Or "I didn't know." Well, we got to stop saying "I didn't know" because now you know. We got to start, thinking that, and I've said this from day one, we've got to stop thinking that somebody on their little white boat is going to come save us because there's nobody coming to save us. We've got to start having these really delicate issues. And I don't say they are delicate, the issues are delicate, but the conversation needs to be delicate as well. Because this is the thing: if we keep sugarcoating everything and we keep saying, "Yeah, girl, you'll get over that," or "Yeah, bro, do this, that, and the other," and we keep laughing about it, it doesn't get better. It doesn't. It really does not get better. It impacts us. And as Dr. Hester was saying, as well as all the panelists that have come and all the speakers that have come this far, we got to do a better job of taking care of us, because us doesn't just mean us. The same thing I say when people say, "Well, why are you always talking about the patient?" I'm not just talking about the patient. I'm talking about the patient's family, meaning their brothers, their sister, their kids, their nieces, their nephews, grandma, granddad, the community. Everybody benefits when patients get empowered. When
Absolutely.
patients align themselves with empowered doctors that say, "Hey, well, we know what we got to say if we're working for a medical company, a medical organization, facility. We know what we have to say on their behalf. But let me break it down to you and let me explain it to you like this. Because maybe if I explain it to you like this, taking off the white coat and talking to you one on one as a person, the doctor and patient, perhaps you'll get it then. Perhaps you'll see that there's really nothing in it for me other than I want to see my patients be successful. I want to see my patients get to that point where they're not just looking at access to healthcare. Because anybody can access healthcare. I can go right down the street. I can get my car and go 3 minutes out, and I'm at a whole slew of doctors. I don't want that. I don't want that for me. So I certainly, and I know because Dr. Hester is an empowered doctor, and I also know because when I came and asked her, "Dr. Hester, could you please share with us the patient world? Could you please share with us the patient empowerment tools?" She didn't say, "Sandra, my schedule is way too busy." And I just told y'all she's 30 years in as an internist. She could have said one or two things. Or one of three things. She could have said no. She could have said, "Sandra, my schedule is way too busy." Or she could have said, "I'll do it. And here's my stipend. Here's what I'm asking for an honorarium." She didn't do any of that. She was like, this is Black history, Black health in history, as Carter G. Woodson said, Black health in history. This is this month, this is our month. Everybody else has a month. And so when we have our own month and we have those providers that step up for us and come to us freely and don't ask us for anything other than take care of yourself. You didn't hear her say, hey, you can schedule an appointment with me, $300. You didn't hear her say, yeah, I'll come talk to your organization, check me out, and I'll, tell you what my fees are. She never once mentioned anything other than please take care of yourself. So if a provider is online begging you to take care of yourself, that word self-care, if she's on on the system, on streaming, and she's saying to you out of the kindness of her heart, please take care of yourself, please. What can we as a patient do other than step up to the plate and take care of ourselves? There's not much that we can do. And I do have another comment that came through from Dr. Wood, and he is saying, as an endocrinologist, I see so much morbidity and mortality, and there are so many options available to patients. We can and must take charge if we are to make a dent in the health of our community. Dr. Wood, thank you so much. I have diabetes. I'm a diabetic patient. I go to an endocrinologist. I also have on my medical team, I have a functional medical doctor who's also a pharmacologist. That was my option and my choice that I chose to take. However, for those of you who are listening, there are other options. There are other choices. There are people that will work with you through these, and they'll do it. There's a number of organizations that will do this without charging you. Will do this on a flat fee scale. They'll do this without you having to worry about how am I going to pay for it. However you got to pay for it. If we out here buying up everything else and we're paying top dollar for everything else, why are we not paying top dollar for our health? We only get one.
Excellent point.
We only get one life.
There
I
you
say
go.
this. Look, Dr. S, I said this a couple of times from the first to the 18th. I said this. I don't want to come back. I'm getting this one life. I'm gonna do what I can to protect it and prolong it. When I'm gone, when God calls me and says your day is here, I don't want to say AI bring me back because I could do it better this time. I don't want to say none of that. I'm gone. I'm gone. I want to leave a legacy so that those behind me can learn what it took me years to learn, but they can learn and do so much better with their lives for their families and their friends and their communities. Before we close out for this evening, what I do want to ask you to do for us, Dr. Hester, is can you tell us a little bit more about the Patient World platform, how people can access it, what exactly, what type of courses or learning is done on that platform?
Sure. So some people may be familiar with the Udemy platform as a worldwide platform where you can log on, sign up, and take a variety of courses. I learned a lot by Udemy, including videos. And so I decided to create a health and wellness platform where people can sign up, they enroll, and they can take courses. And these are set up in bite-sized chunks. So for instance, for cardiology, I have one cardiologist, he has 5 board certifications, and he explains heart failure, a leading cause of hospitalization as we grow older. And they're module by module by module. Another one is the world's only interventional cardiologist who's a professional chef and a culinary medicine professor, Chef Dr. Mike, recently recognized by the World Health Organization. He does a module on coronary disease, blockage of the arteries, the number one killer. And so these are broken down into bite-sized chunks in layman's terms so anybody can understand these things. And a lot of them, when they're talking, a question will come up to make sure you're paying attention and you would answer the question to keep on going. There's a lot of downloadable information. Priya Jasingani, she's an ABC News, health news unit contributor. She leads the course on obesity. And she does part of it. I do part of it. I have a gut health expert who does part of it, a lifestyle medicine expert, and a fitness coach. And we just cover a variety of things as far as healthy weight management. Several others. There's a New York Times, a ghostwriter for 5 New York Times best-selling books. David Jarr. He does one on the road to recovery from alcohol and tobacco. And I do one based on my book, Patient Empowerment 101, More Than a Book is an Adventure. It's the Patient Empowerment Masterclass. And it teaches people how to create like a 1-minute elevator speech to tell your doctor the things that he or she needs to know. And so I give people like an inside look, so to speak, on what they need to do. And I share this information with one of my coworkers who's not a doctor. And a few weeks later, she got sick. She ended up in the ER, and she had this information on her phone, and she pulled it up. She gave the ER doctor a great history, and when he was finished, he diagnosed her quickly, treated her. She was able to leave the ER without being admitted. But when he finished talking to her, he asked, "Are you in the medical field? I've never had anybody talk to me that way." So the goal is to help people think the way we do. It's not that hard. There are specific things that we want to know. We want to know the location, the severity, the variety of things that we want to know about your illness. And I just lay that out for people. And so patientworld.net is the platform where you can go and you can enroll in a variety of health courses. There are others. I just launched it a few months ago, so I'm adding more. I have my diabetes educator. She's done her course, and I'm going to edit that and put that up soon. A doctor of pharmacy does one on blood pressure medicine. So over time, you're going to see more and more courses on the platform. And I believe the one I gave you was one of the cardiology courses. And the African American community, we do not have access, or we do not see cardiologists, heart specialists like others. And I believe that the free promo codes I gave you a lot of was for one of the cardiology courses, probably the heart failure course. But that's basically what patientworld.net is.
Yes, and you are correct. The courses that I have are tied to cardiology. So if you are a cardiology patient, if you know someone that has cardiac issues, if you think you might have cardiac issues and you're just really not sure, you need to actually let me know. Say, hey, Sandra, once again, go to her platform to see what other courses are out there. But if they're tied to cardiology, Sandra, can you send me what you have? Because I would love to have access to those free courses. I want to see what it's about. You don't have to tell me all of your business. But if you want to share something, but once again, if you know someone that needs this help, I suggest and I highly recommend that you contact me, send me comments, send me anything to get a hold of me to ask me about how you access these resources.
And so I do want to clarify that the one by Dr. Kier Mavani, the heart failure one, I'm able to give as many away of those as I want. The one by Dr. Mike, contractually, I'm not able to just give away his courses. But certainly, if people have an interest in that course, I could certainly just let me know, and I can certainly give a significant coupon code for that.
So you heard that yourself. Once again, there are classes that you have to pay for, but there are some free courses. So just send us a note and say, "Can I see what you have?" And then if what I have isn't good for you, then say, "Sandra, could you put me in touch with Dr. Hester so that I can get the courses that she has?" Because I want to be able to know I want more information, and we should all, every last one of us in the community that has access to these videos, we should all be wanting to know more. Whether we know more today or whether we like, well, I want to sit down and look at it and I want to see what exactly it is I need. However, you have to do it. Uh, Once again, if you can pay for some of the things that we pay for entertainment, certainly we can pay for our health and the needs of our health. And the other issue is a lot of times when we think, those of us that are employed or are working, and we have what's called an FSA, please take advantage of that FSA. The reason being is that sometimes the stuff that's not covered through your insurance, if you have an FSA and you get the doctor to write you a letter of medical necessity, meaning a letter of why they think you would benefit from having access to programs, the FSA will cover it. Not everybody likes FSAs. I get it. Yeah, they extend, they end at the end of the year. They don't cover, they don't, roll over. They actually extended it past the end of the year, so now they'll let you go to like February or March, to spend your resources. But look into it to see, because it's a benefit that helps you when you need these extra items and you don't have the money to, or your insurance doesn't cover it, so that you can get the extra help. There's resources and options. We just got to take care, we just have to take advantage of those resources and of those options. Dr. Hester, I thank you. The board of Chom's MediHelps Foundation thanks you so much for taking time out of your busy day to help us to encourage those in our community to be patients that are engaged, empowered, and educated. Once again, just those three alone, we will be well on our way to a very sustainable best health outcomes goal. So please do what you can to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, your family, and your loved ones. And before I close out with that, and very, very pretty smile of yours, Dr. Hester, that smile that catches on, right? I don't see how anybody that is ever around you, when you start smiling, I can't see how they could continue to have a bad day or be challenged with
That's so
a
sweet.
bad day. If I could take your smile and like post it up, like, okay, you have a bad day, look, and just like show everybody, what comes. And I tell all people this all the time: beauty radiates from within. When you see someone that has a smile as precious as hers, you know that from inside out, she's good. She's good.
May
So
God get all the glory.
that's right. That can you say that again, and then can you close us out with like two tips that you want us all to walk away with?
Okay. I said, may God be all the glory. And my father died unexpectedly when I was in college. And at the funeral, they sang a song I'd never heard before. If I can help somebody,
Long.
my living will not be in vain. Mahalia Jackson. And that's what I've tried to live by. If you can help somebody along the way, then your living is not in vain. So take up this information. You can help save lives in addition to your own.
Thank you so much, and I want you to continue having a very blessed day.
You do the same.
Thank
God bless you.
you.